9 years ago, this was Sharon's first cuddle with her newborn grandson. Within months, she would become his legal guardian, his mum unable to cope. She has made a home for him, filled with love, but she lives in fear of his violent outbursts.
A few weeks ago, I ended up in hospital with bruised ribs, where he punched me, attacked me. My husband ended up with a split lip where he headbutted him. When he was a lot younger, he bit me so hard he pulled one of his teeth out. So the crack down here is from him kicking the panel. And then there's a hole in the wall here where he repeatedly slams the door.
Sharon believes the child-to-parent violence, recognised as a form of domestic abuse, is a symptom of her grandson's traumatic start in life. But they have found there's nowhere to turn.
It's soul-destroying for us as carers. There is this huge chasm where there is just a huge lack of support. There is, you get social workers saying, if he kicks off, ring the police. Well, what message does that give the child? Are you already heading them down a path of criminality just because you're involving the police? Why have they got to fail before somebody steps in and does something?
Sharon's experience is all too common.
The story really starts when I adopted my son.
In Scotland 17 years ago, this was the little boy one woman had longed for. We'll call his mum Lorna to protect their identities.
He became violent from a very young age, probably about 3. You put it down to toddler tantrums, things like that, at that sort of age. It continued on, and it really became a major issue when he reached about age 7 or 8. At age 7, I was lying in my bed, and my son wanted to wake me up. He had a method that he was going to use to wake me up, and that was by trying to attack me with a knife when I was sleeping in bed. So I wasn't badly injured, but I was injured.
Lorna's adopted son has a neurodevelopmental condition and ADHD. Despite help from health and adoption services, her worst fear came true.
We were in crisis in 2018. My son spent several years in a residential school placement. That was very difficult. I adopted my son, and I had to actually voluntarily sign him back into the care system, which was horrific. But I knew that my son was at risk to himself, and he was posing a risk to others as well.
He's back home now, but still extremely violent at 17. Lorna shared these recent pictures of damage he's caused and injuries he's inflicted on her.
I believe that my son will actually kill me one day, whether that's a conscious act, but I do believe that he will kill me. And I also think about the fact that I may have to move home and not tell him where I've gone so that I'm safe. It's a dirty secret. It's a dirty secret. We shouldn't really talk about this. But in actual fact, we really do need to talk about this. And, the government need to step up and put resources into, supporting the parents and carers who are experiencing this life, because it's not a life, it's an existence.
Nobody tells us that these children are going to have any difficulties. If we had that knowledge before any of these issues started, that these children will have trauma, these children will have difficulties, these are the strategies that you can use, then it would make such a difference.
They are 2 children being brought up by parents and carers who love them dearly, but they have come to fear them too, and they are crying out for help. Tessa Chapman, 5 News.
They are. Well, let's bring you a statement from the Home Office and Department for Education, who told us the government has provided more than £28 million to domestic abuse organisations to date to help them keep helplines running and vital services open. We provide £3 million for other programmes across England and Wales which support young people experiencing domestic abuse, including those who are displaying harmful behaviours. Well, we have had an extraordinary response to our story yesterday. No doubt we will today too. So if this is an issue affecting you, here are the websites on your screen for the charities that we've mentioned in our reports.